comfortably, back straight, eyes gently closed. Abandon for the breath for a few rounds. Observe the normal breathing. Let us chant 3 rounds of Omkara. Each time you breathe in, and as you breathe out, continue with the Om chanting. Inhale. Let us chant Om. Let us chant Om, followed by the Sahana Bhava to prayer. Breathe in. Sahanavatu, sahanavunaktu, sahaviryam karavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu, ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. With a few blinks, open the eyes. Sit comfortably. Now today's session on PanchaKosha Viveka will be handled by Raghuramji. Raghuramji is our guide and mentor for Yogabharati. He was also the co-founder of Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhana Samsthana, which is a university near Bangalore. So he will guide you through the session. In the last 10 minutes, if you have any, you can take down your notes, make your points, and after the session is over, last 10 minutes, we will have the interactive session where you can ask your questions. Now I hand over the session to Raghuramji. Raghuramji, you can start.
So, namaste to everyone. So, shall we start?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Namaste to everyone. Welcome you for this satsang, PanchaKosha. PanchaKosha concept is a very deeply spiritual concept. Very deeply spiritual concept. That is the reason why in our culture, this PanchaKosha used in so many different ways. Like for example, when we do the Sandhya Vandana, this and that, in the tradition, this PanchaKosha mantras are always talked about and concept is brought about. But then the yoga field did not have it for a very long time. They were only thinking of asanas and then physical postures and then some idea about prana, which is supposed to be in their idea, it's the breath and breath control. This is how a lot of people had this idea. But then actually PanchaKosha was never discussed in the yoga field until Professor Satyanarayan Shastri is our mentor, he is a spiritual guide and our teacher. He brought about this concept very clearly in the field of the circles of yoga, circles of science. He brought about 2-3 concepts very important. One is the concept called as the PanchaKosha, and the other the concept of Adhi Vyadhi. This was never discussed about yoga therapy anywhere else until Shastriji brought out that idea. And third concept is the concept of happiness. These three are like the monumental concepts of Shastriji. And I'm sure that this is going to stay forever in this culture of yoga. So why is it so important? We have heard that Vivekananda saying that each soul is potentially divine. And the goal is to manifest the divinity within by controlling the nature, internal, external. This you can do either by work, worship, philosophy, psychic control. That's where he brought about work is Karma Yoga, worship is Bhakti Yoga, philosophy is Jnana Yoga, psychic control is Raja Yoga. So he tried to put in one garland all these four different yogas. But then how to put them together and what is that which is connection with them, connection around that. If you can understand it from the PanchaKosha point of view, it makes very great sense. So in that sense, PanchaKosha becomes a very important aspect of it. And what about this? What is this PanchaKosha? It is about the model given to the human being. We have to give a model to the human being in the way that human being is a very complex personality. At the gross level, he is the physical body. And even the grossest in that physical body is like a bone, which has absolutely no flexibility at all. It's completely rigid. And from there all the way, when you go deep inside, we also are psychology sometimes, we are also intellect, we are also this, we are also that. Ultimately, deep inside, we are the consciousness. So it is right from the body to the consciousness, continuous spectrum that human being is. Or anything in this creation, when we understand that way, that there are certain, in the spectrum, certain pieces are missing in the other objects and certain pieces are added in this. Like for example, if you take a stone, it's absolutely physical. It's just a physical body that is there. Doesn't have even life in that. From there, when we come to the plant, you can see that there is life in that. Annamaya kosha is there, physical body, but then prana is also there. That's what is the life force. Like that, once you take this PanchaKosha model, then you can explain the whole creation. And this is not the only model that understanding about the human being Indian philosophy has given. It has given various other models. Like for example, one of the models Upanishad talks about the human being is nothing but his own experiences, which are the wakeful state experiences, dream experiences, deep sleep experiences, and he is somebody beyond that, which is called as Turiya. Like that, there are several other models are there. But the most important thing about the PanchaKosha is that it applies to the yoga philosophy so closely. Now, it is about understanding human being. There are essentially two different approaches to understand human being. One is the way that modern science approach towards understanding human being. And according to the modern science, until about recently, 13th, 14th century, human being is considered to be just a physical body. It has got various systems that are there. As long as all those physical body systems are working, he is there. Any work is also that physical body systems working. But then Sigmund Freud is the first person who came and said, man is not just only physical body, but he's also what is called as mind. So physical body is called as soma, mind is called as psyche. So here's a combination of psychosomatic being or somatopsychic. So this was a big revelation for the Western medicine, because that a person like Freud has come up with the whole idea explaining about the whole thing about mind. So then science, modern medicine also is evolved from a simple cognitive kind of a treating with the chemicals. But more important thing is they said, okay, we also treat the mind. So psychology as a big field has come. But then modern science, so far, with all these years of development, could not accept the next personality level, which is called as the consciousness level human being has. Discussions are going on here and there. whether there is consciousness inside or when it is born, when it has come. So all these discussions are going on. But hardcore scientist is not still prepared to accept what is this consciousness. When this way modern science is struggling, way back about 6,000-7,000 years ago, Indian philosophy always said human being exists at this 5 different personality level. And this personality level, what he calls as kosha. Kosha means like the way that you have the sheath or the cover for the sword. So 5 different covers are there for the sword. And the sword is supposed to be you. Ultimately, the Brahman that is there. But all these covers are there with you. So this is how PanchaKosha, 5 different covers. That's what is the way it has been explained. Now, when Western science is finding it difficult to go beyond 2 levels, how could Indian philosophy way back thought about 5 different layers of existence of human being? It is because the method of inquiry. A normal method of inquiry with the modern science follows is observe from outside. That means you are outside and the object is there and you observe the object and try to give an inference. And that is the reason why in the beginning, when they observed human being, nothing but the physical body. Even the mind, you cannot see that. But then main mind is inferred later on by Sigmund Freud. So therefore, they have come to the 2 different levels. One is the manifest and the other is the unmanifest or hidden behind. So these are the 2 levels that they could accept it. When you observe, you have to take the help of your senses, and then your senses will only limit you to what you see, what you hear, what you talk about in the outside. But how can you transcend the senses and observe yourself? And that's why observing within. Like for example, I have to look into myself. I don't need the senses. When I say that my stomach is hurting, I don't need any senses to tell me that because I feel it inside. So therefore, there are 2 different ways of approach to understand human being. One is the method of external inquiry and the other is the internal inquiry. The internal inquiry I cannot go enter into your inside. I can only go into myself. That's why classically it is known as Atma Pariksha or knowing oneself. Why this is important? It is important because that when you know yourself, there are so many things which are not available for senses. You are aware of it. Like for example, you say, I'm upset, I'm agitated, I'm disturbed, I'm under tension. All these things are not observed by the senses outside, but they are felt inside. And these are the true feeling. So therefore, Atma Pariksha is the method that Upanishad has adapted. And second thing is that this is in our own experience. So you look into your own experience and find out the truth. It's a very beautiful story that goes on between the student and teacher, the dialogue in Taittiriya Upanishad. And that gives us the insight into it. And there, the student comes to the teacher and asks, tell me, who am I? Very simple question. Who is this human being or who am I? The teacher laughs and says, try to find out for yourself what you are. And then tell me what you know about yourself that you think that you are. And then tell me whether it is enough or not, I will let you know, because it cannot be wrong. After all, it is your own experience. Absolutely based on your own experience. Anubhavamiti Shastra. Na anyatha, not otherwise. So he asked the student, you look into your own experience and come and tell me. And the student looks into his own experience and comes back within no time. Says, I'm this physical body. As long as this physical body is here, I'm here. Moment wherever this physical body is there, I go there. So therefore, I'm this physical body, Annamaya Kosha. And this physical body is maintained by food, and the food is called as Anna. Therefore, it is made out of food, Annamaya. Like the ornament is called as Chinmaya, that means made out of gold. This body is supposed to be Annamaya Kosha. Fine. He is happy, he comes to the teacher says, find out further. That means he doesn't say wrong, because it can't be wrong, it's out of your experience. But then that is very limiting, and you need to go further. So tapasa brahma vijñāsasva. Try to find out further. And then tell me, Satapo Tapyata. And then he comes back to say, I'm not this physical body, but I am the life force, vital force, which is working behind the physical body. This vital force is what we call it as prana. So prana is responsible for my hands to move, my legs to move, my eyes to see, my mouth to talk. It is because of this prana, all these activities are going on. Therefore, actually, if you closely watch it, prana is using the physical body. Prana is using your hands and legs and all those things. So therefore, you are prana. That's why we also say that my hand and my legs, I have seen with my own eyes. That means they are not eyes, they are like my instruments through which I see. So I am one behind these instruments, whether it is legs or hands and all that, I am behind that. So very simple idea is that one who is behind all these things is supposed to be prana. So therefore, I am the pranamaya kosha or vital personality. But the teacher says, find out further. That means to say many times physical body is there, vital force is also there, but you are not there. That means you are missing from there. That means you have gone somewhere else. So what is that which has gone somewhere else? And that is what you are. A very simple, crude example in the day-to-day life, that you are driving the car and you are stuck in a traffic light. You saw the red light, eyes are there, prana is also there, that means you are there. Therefore, you see the red light and stop the car. Oh my God, this traffic is once again picked up. As long as COVID was there, everything was okay. Now look at the traffic that is there. I have to go place and then I may be late. I'm stuck up here. So this way, your mind starts thinking of something else. Mind goes elsewhere. Mind is not here. The moment mind is not here, the red light becomes green, but you have not seen. Though the physical body is there, vital force is also there, prana is also there, but you have not seen, but mind is not there. Somebody from behind you honks at you, brings about your alertness, immediately you say, oh, I was in the office or I was in the friend's place. That means to say mind is gone there, therefore I'm there, mind is here, I'm here. So very clear very clear indication is that I'm the mental personality, manomaya kosha. If mind is here, I'm here, mind is not here, I'm not here. Mano brahmeti vyajanat, manaso heva khalu imani bhutani jayante, manasa jatani jivanti, manaprayanti abhisambhishanti. Mind is there, I'm here. If the mind is not there, I'm not there. Wherever mind goes, I go with that. Therefore, I'm the manomaya kosha. Using this physical body and then prana and the outside. So he's excited and he comes back to the teacher and says that I found out I'm the manomaya kosha, mental personality. Freud would have been happy with this statement, but then the teacher is not happy. Upanishad teacher, he says find out further. Why? Because many times the mind goes here and there, and you are the boss behind the mind. You tell the mind to come here. The mind is not here, you are not here. Mind is here, you are here. In fact, that is the reason why Indian philosophy, man is called as mananamiti manushya. One where the mind is called as man. So mind goes elsewhere, you tell the mind to come back. Therefore, you are not the mind. Mind is an instrument in your hand. Like the way a sickle is the instrument in the hands of a farmer, mind is an instrument in your hands. You use the mind. To see the traffic light, you use the mind. And we say that, if the mind is going elsewhere, don't you tell your mind to come back here? Like for example, you are driving and you are supposed to take an entrance, exit, and you have to go into directions and all those things. And if your mind is continuously thinking elsewhere, or somebody is talking to you and engaging your mind, you tell that person, can you stop, because I need to now put my mind on the traffic. I have to put my mind on the road. I have to put my mind on the number of the road so that I need to take a turn. Directions I can apply. So therefore, basically, that I use the mind, I direct the mind, I use the mind, and I'm behind the mind. Not only we, even the children, They are behind the mind. They are not mind. Like for example, mother is sitting with the child, a simple household example, doing the homework. It's often mother doing the homework, not the child anyway. And then dad is watching the TV, and then some gaga goes on the TV, and the child mind goes into the TV. The whole attention is there, mind is there. Mother immediately shouts at the child, come on, put your mind here. We are doing math here, we are doing homework here. Put your mind here. See, mind is something that you can put here. It's an instrument in your hand. So therefore, you are not mind. You are somebody behind the mind. So who are you? This question still persists. We have not yet answered. This is where the Freud group has stopped it, whereas Indian philosophy goes much deeper. The teacher says, find out further. He says, you are the boss behind the mind. But who is that? You find out for yourself. He doesn't even give a hint. See, he doesn't even give a hint. He only gives a hint. You are the boss. Mind is an instrument in your hand. Very cruel it looks like, No phone a friend and no alternative. No nothing like that. No hint at all. So you have to find out for yourself who you are. It's not very difficult to find out that who you are. Even at this stage, all that it requires is a keen observation. And when you observe yourself, you can see that you are responsible for all this creation, whatever that happened, and that is because of your intellect. Today, when you see all this world development, it's all because of the intellect. Today, we are able to use this internet so efficiently. It's all because of the intellect. So we are the intellect. It is nobody else has developed. It is the human being who has developed that. Therefore, human being is the intellectual personality, and that's what is Vijnana Kosha. I train my intellect to do certain things, and then I'm with that. I become the intellect, and then I practice all kinds of things that are there. And not only that, we identify ourselves with the intellect. We're saying that, whatever the intellect is trained, we are that. If my intellect is trained in medicine, I'm a doctor. If my intellect is trained in engineering, I'm an engineer. In software, I'm a software engineer. If my intellect is trained as an architect, I'm an architect. If my intellect is trained to lie, I'm a liar. If I have no intellect, I'm a politician. So whatever the intellect is there, that's what is me. But then Upanishad says that you are not the intellect, go behind that intellect. Go satapo tapyata, go further. How can you say that you are not the intellect? You are somebody which is deeper, because intellect is supposed to be the sharpest of our faculty within, responsible for all these things today. Vijnanadhyeva khali imani bhutani jayante, vijnanena jatani jivanti. It is the intellect which is responsible. And the subtler aspect of intellect is also the emotions. And because of this, all this technology, all this development that has taken place, but the Upanishad teacher says go beyond. This is where Indian philosophy, Upanishad knowledge, excels Western philosophy. You take all the Western philosophers, whether it is Socrates or Schopenhauer or Karl Marx, Confucius, everybody stopped at that level. Intellect is the supreme most. There is nothing which is deeper, subtler than the intellect. It's only the Upanishad which takes us beyond the level of intellect, something which is higher. Why is it difficult? It's difficult not because of any other reason. Who do you ask? Who is subtler than the intellect? You ask only the intellect. And the intellect within you answers that, look, I am the boss here. He assumes to be everything. You can't go beyond that. Only a keen observation, a careful observation of your day-to-day experience will give you the insight into what is beyond the intellect. It's so easy today in our class, we can explore that. We can give an explanation. But imagine the Upanishad student, when the teacher says, go find out further. He must have spent ages of time to see that what is beyond the level of intellect. But once you find out what is beyond the level of intellect, you see that how simple it is there in your day-to-day life. It's in your common experience. How intellect is not supreme. You are somebody which is deeper than the supreme. You are something which is deeper than the intellect. Why? Because the simple reason is that intellect can only give you advice. Intellect cannot have the decision-making capacity, power. And decision-making still rests with you. You are the decider. Intellect is not the decider. Intellect can only give an advice. But to follow the advice or not, it is up to you. Intellect says this is right and this is wrong. Don't follow the wrong, follow the right. Intellect says. But who has to follow? Deep inside your own willpower, your own decision maker is the one which says that no, don't go by that. Even though intellect said, don't go by that. Like for example, a friend of mine who was a diabetic, and he knows very well that diabetes should not eat sweets. Bangalore is such a place where when you go for the dinner buffet in the marriage houses, there are different kiosks that are there, outlets are there for sweets one, for this one, for that one, for pani puri, bel puri, for chaat center is one, dosa center is one. You can choice. You can go to whichever is your choice and then you can eat. You all have a fun. And then a friend of mine, a diabetic, directly goes to the sweet stall. I said, Babu, you are not supposed to eat sweet. Why are you here? He said, Raghuram, keep it aside. If I eat one sweet here, how many calories it is? Maybe about 100 calories, 150 calories. Then I can leave one dosa and then have one sweet here. See, he uses his intellect for the sake of something else. Decision is his, not the intellect. So what is taking the decision? That decision is taken by the happiness that he finds in eating the sweet. So the decision is given by the happiness. While I was working as an engineer, I had a good friend of mine, a brilliant engineer. Any question that any solved problem is there, he would immediately give us a solution. Brilliant. Everybody accepted him. He is also gold medal in the engineering. So naturally, that is very intellectual. But then he was given to smoking. So I countered him saying that, Baba, you are such a bright engineer. You are a role model for everybody. And you smoke. And don't you know that smoking is bad for your health? Is not smoking bad for your health? Particularly for an engineer, statistics is very good because engineers are good in maths. So I tried to convince him by mathematical statistics saying that the medical reports say that 56% of lung cancer is because of the smoking. So therefore, you are in the high risk range of lung cancer. So why do you go for smoking? He said, Raghuram, 56% is the earlier statistics. Latest revised statistics show that it is 85%. That means he knows much better about the evils of smoking than I do. In spite of the fact that he knows, he still goes for smoking. That means, say, his intellect also must be saying, don't smoke. Smoking causes injury. It is like the way that you see on the cigarette pack, or you see on the TV, there is a running message that is there. Smoking is injurious to health, smoking causes cancer. It is like that. A running message on the TV is not going to change you. And the same way, running message inside your mind, and that's what intellect is saying, smoking is bad for your health. But then you still go for smoking. Why does he go for smoking? In fact, I don't have to worry about, because one day he came out with a solution. What really guides him to smoke? In fact, when I went 3, 4, 5 times to tell him that smoking is bad for health, any good advice, please adapt this carefully, any good advice that you do somebody 3, 4, 5 times, that fellow gets irritated, nagging. One day this fellow got irritated, countered me saying that, Raghuram, you always advise me not to smoke. Have you ever smoked? I never faced that question. I took back a little bit and said, no, I never smoked. I don't know what is the smoking like, what is the experience of smoking like. Immediately he had an upper hand. And he said, Raghuram, you advised me not to smoke because you don't know the maja of smoking. What guides him in the maja of smoking? That maja, when I put it in a sophisticated Sanskrit language, Anandadhyeva khalu imani bhutani jayante. It is the Ananda which is guiding us. Anandena jatani jivanti. Nothing from outside is guiding us. We are guiding ourselves. Nobody is guiding us. We are guiding ourselves. And that we deep inside is the Ananda, which says that, come on, you smoke so that you are in the state of Ananda. Come what may, you will be in the state of Ananda. That's what is the approach that PanchaKosha says. The moment that the student finds out this truth, immediately he knows that his nature is Ananda. Look at the funny thing. Once he finds out his nature is Ananda, he never came back to the teacher. Saisha Bhargavi Varuni Vidya. The moment Bhargavi, Saisha, this particular Bhargavi, Vidya, the moment he came to know, he was established in that peaceful state. Sayevam Veda Pratitishtati. He was established in that blissful state because his very nature is blissful. Not only that, Upanishad says, whoever now understands this, in fact, there is not much of difficulty in understanding this. It's very intellectual, very clear. All the logic is very clear from our day-to-day experience. Sa evam Vedaha Pratitishtati. He will be there in that particular state of peaceful being within himself, Ananda. Yes, Upanishad said right, and the whole thing is very logical. I have not used any esoteric terms and all that, any mystical kind of contradiction. Our nature itself is Ananda. But even then the student is still adamant. How do you say that my Ananda is my nature? Because my experience is Ananda comes from the object outside. I hear some music, get Ananda. I eat some food, I get Ananda. How do you say that my nature is Ananda? A very simple observation Upanishad tells us. Look at your deep sleep state. Are you not happy? We are all happy. We all enjoy sleep. In fact, there is nothing that we would like to compromise or barter with our happiness called as sleep. If somebody says, don't sleep. No. I want to sleep. I have to sleep because that's what is the most important, coveted place for us. So in the deep sleep state, you have experience of Ananda, blissful state, but that object is not giving you joy. No object is entering into your deep sleep state to give you joy. There is no entry into you, into that deep state. Even the reporter does not have any entry. Therefore, in the deep sleep state, you don't even report to somebody, yeah, I'm in a deep sleep state now. Even that fellow is also not there. Only experiencer is there. And then when you wake up, you say, wow, I had a wonderful sleep. That deep sleep state, not even the time can enter into that. Please understand that. In that deep sleep state, not even time can enter into that. You are free from that time. You know, one day I was sitting in my engineering college in the classroom. One of the last benches I was sitting, a little tired. And then this lecturer, he was giving a talk. One of the professors, he was giving a talk. Absolutely boring. In fact, many engineering subjects are like that. So I was sleepy. I just put my hand under my chin on the desk and then rested my neck, my head on that hand and closed my eyes just for 1 minute. I said, let me take a little nap and then wake up. I took 1 minute nap and then woke up fresh. I suddenly felt I'm so fresh now, free from all that stress that was there. Now I'm okay. I opened my eyes and looked at. To my surprise, that teacher was giving that class. He's already left and gone. Next teacher also left. And the next period teacher is standing there. I thought it was 1 second, 1 wink. But then it's almost like 1 full hour has passed. This is what is the way. That state, mind has become quiet. Even the intellect becomes quiet. The time does not exist there. So that is what is the state experience of happiness. Esasya paramanandaha. That's what the experience of happiness that we have. So deep inside, when all the other things are left out, what is that your experience you are is nothing but Ananda. The moment that the student finds out his nature is Ananda, he never came back to the teacher. Saisha Bhargavi Varni Vidya Parame Vyaman Pratishtita Sayayevam Vedaha Pratitishthati. Yes. But then now the big problem comes. Yeah, I can understand. It's convincing that my nature is happiness. But why? But why I'm not happy? See, everybody has this question that my nature is supposed to be happiness, but I'm not happy. Why? Because we have come away from your nature. We come away from it. At various personality levels, we come away from our nature. Therefore, we are not happy. We are away from the nature called happiness. Everybody is away from happiness. If you ask anybody, are you happy? Person says that, yeah, when this COVID is gone, everything is gone, life comes to normal, then I will be happy. But then what prevents you to be happy now? Not to be happy from now. So therefore, it is the happiness which is our own nature, but we are away from our nature. Ask somebody, young man, are you happy? Yeah, once I get, now I think, job is settled, life is settled. I get married, then I'll be happy. A married person, you ask him, are you happy? He says, yeah, applied for a divorce. And the divorce is sanctioned, then I'll be happy. Either way, you are away from happiness. You are not happy. Why? At every personality level, we have come away from our nature. At the physical personality level, at the body level, our nature was to be relaxed. Look at the child. The child is a beautiful example to show that our very nature itself is happiness. The child is always happy. Happily runs, happily talks, happily looks at your face, smiles. There is no reason for smiling. Child is blissful and walks. While walking also, there is absolutely relaxed. No tension at all. Falls, relax. There's no tension while falling. That's why children are so relaxed all the time. At the body level, we were relaxed like that. But as we have grown up, we are so tensed at the body level. A very simple example for that is, anywhere in the world that you go and you take the months-old child, the simple pastime of the child is to hold the big toes and then put it in the mouth. And that they enjoy it for almost like half an hour, 1 hour that they stay there in that position where the toes they'll be chewing. When you look at that, you wonder, is that the relaxed position for the child? Yes, because the muscles are relaxed, joints are relaxed, the body becomes like a ball, and then you enjoy. We were also like that when we were doing. Earlier days when we were children, months-old child, we used to do the same thing. But then as we have grown up, we are away from our nature called relaxation so much that we have so much of tension. When people come to the yoga class and I ask them, bend forward, touch the toes, Padahastasana. I'm not talking about those people who cannot see the toes at all because of the large Madhya Pradesh that they have. But those who can see the toes, they ask me, those toes? As if it is somebody else's. I said, no, Papa, your own toes. Why don't you hold your toes? Bend down. So I can't bend down so much because my back is tight, my waist is so tight, tense that is there. Shoulders are so tight, I can't bend below the knees. But what happened to you? Why are you so tense? Earlier you used to take your toes into your mouth. I am asking you just to touch your feet. And what is the trouble? He says, I can't bend down below the knees, but I can do the social service. I can put my toes in somebody else's mouth. We are away from our nature at the body level in the form of tension. So look at the table where the original state of us is given in the form of relaxation, and the disturbed state, or the away from our original state, is in the form of tension. At the body level, tension is the way, which is given in the red color, is our nature, away from our nature. Similarly, at the prana level, our nature was to be slow. Look at the children, they're always slow, they are never in a hurry. But as we have grown up, speed is the way that we come away from our nature. Everything we have to do it fast. A simple example for the child is that mother keeps the child a spoonful of food in the mouth, and the child is running and running and running, and the food is still sitting in the mouth. Right? Mother says, open the mouth, and the food is still, come on, eat it fast. I don't know why the child has to eat fast. Because even Krishna's mouth was also full. That's why Yashoda had to tell him, open your mouth and see, show what it is there. Whereas as we have grown up today, that speed has entered into us in our prana so much, everything we do it fast. And the simple example for that is, look at Bangalore. We'll be paralyzed if there is no fast food centers. That means you don't even have time to sit down and eat. You stand and eat and finish and run. Speed is the way that we come away from our nature. Similarly, at the mental personality level, our nature was to be calm. Look at the children. They are calm, they are not worried at all. very peaceful and joyful. But then as we have grown up, we keep worrying and worrying and worrying. That's what is the agitation, is the way that we come away from our nature. We are agitated because that we are worried. Whether there is a reason or no reason, we keep worrying. If there is nothing to worry about, then we sit down and worry. Why I'm not worrying about anything? Is it something wrong going on? Not only we worry about our worries, we worry about others also. Once I was in Prashanti counseling people, and then husband and wife came to me. And then they wanted to have a counseling with me. Initially for 10 minutes that both husband and wife talked to me. After 10 minutes, wife told husband, you go out, I want to talk to Raghuram personally. Poor husband fellow went out, and the wife asked me, my main worry is my husband doesn't worry. See, you are worried because your husband doesn't worry. Look at the way that we are. So agitation is the way that we come away from our nature. At the intellect level, we have wrong notions, fixation. This is right, this is wrong, this is okay, this is not okay. All silly things that we hold on to our intellect. Like that way, the very simple example is, look at the way that you have not prepared well for the exam. You are not very sure that how are you going to write exam. And then you start for the exam, suddenly you see a cat crosses your path. And then what you do? You anyway spoil the whole exam paper, and then you come back and say that, look, the cat crossed my path, therefore I could not do the exam. You see, poor cat became a victim. Poor cat does not even know that you are going to have exams. Just imagine if that is supposed to be true. An ordinary simple cat comes in your way, your exam can get jeopardized. You have come in the way of the cat. What happens to that cat? Just imagine that. All this kind of wrong notions, fixations we have in the mind. We have never questioned it. Why do I have that? Small little trivial things. And therefore, because of that, we have so many confusions in our mind. And then whereas at the emotion level, we have so many imbalances. These are the things which take us away from our nature. As a result of it, deep inside at the blissful level, our nature was to be in harmony. Not only we are in harmony, the whole nature is in harmony. Look at the orange fruit, the bitter seed inside and the wonderful fruit inside, sweet fruit, born together, grow to the fullness together. Seed will not disturb the fruit, fruit will not disturb seed. There's such a wonderful harmony. Similarly, when you take a plant, the roots in the soil, and the flowers and the foliage in the sky, they are in such wonderful harmony. You can see in the nature, everything is in harmony. Everybody is in harmony. In the animals and the birds and in the children, you can see this harmony between hunger and eating. A simple harmony you can think of it between hunger and eating. But we have lost that connection. We eat because it is time to eat. We eat because there are a lot of calories. We eat because that this is something which is full of fiber. But really, are you hungry? That's not even the question at all. As a result of it, we are into disharmony. Such a long period of time we are in disharmony, nurturing it, come away from our nature in the form of disharmony. So as a result of it, what happens when we are in our nature at the PanchaKosha level? That means bliss is our own nature. We have a beautiful smile on the face. That's what is the indication of a blissful nature. But today we are so far away from that. We have lost the smile on our face. Not only that, when we sit for photography, the cameraman has to request us, please smile. And these days even that does not work. That's why he says, say cheese, I'll manage with that. What an unfortunate thing it is. So what's the solution for that? A simple solution is, a simple cause is that we need to really go for happiness. There is nothing that man does without for the sake of happiness. Sukhame valabdha karoti, na sukham labdha na karoti. So if you have to have that sukha, happiness, what do? Get back to your own nature. That's why a disturbed nature called as tension, speed, agitation in the chart there, to go to the state called as relaxation, slowness, calmness. That's what is the definition of yoga. That's what you can see. A conscious method of relaxation is what is the definition of asanas. That's what is the definition of kriyas according to the Patanjali. So a conscious process of slowing down the prana is the definition of pranayama. The very definition of pranayama, shwasa prachwasayor gatir vicheda pranayama. Similarly, a conscious process of calming the mind is the idea of meditation. If you are sitting for meditation for an hour and you are restless inside saying that when does this meditation get over so that I can come out of it, that means you are not meditating, come out of it. The meditation has to contribute to your peace of mind inside. Similarly, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga help us to go back to our nature in the form of wisdom, in the form of internal balance. And you apply all these things at various personality level to get back to your own nature. Work is your own nature. And that way when you do it, that's what is Karma Yoga. So all these techniques of yoga are helping you to go back to your nature. So according to the PanchaKosha, Viveka, that you can understand that beautifully all these yoga, different levels and different tools, we can do that, go back to our nature. Like for example, when at the physical level, it is the willpower with which that we go back to our nature, asana. At the prana level, you hold on to the prana to slow down the prana, to go back to your nature. That's what is pranayama. We can use the mind as a tool to go back to our nature, and that is calm down the mind so that you go to the Swarupa. That's what Patanjali says. Tadevatra matra nirbhasam Swarupa shunya. Such a person is a person who dissolves himself and then go back to his own nature. Similarly, at intellectual level, Jnana Yoga will help us to go back to our own nature. Same thing about Bhakti Yoga. So all these techniques are the techniques which will help us to go back to our nature. This is what Patanjali has given the definition of yoga. Vritti sarupya mitarataha. Vritti identifies you outside. Vritti nirodha tatha drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. So on two ends of the vritti, one end is the world outside and the other end is the swarupa, yourself. So a journey from self to the world outside is the way that we are interacted, we are training in this world. Whereas coming back from that world outside to go back to your nature is what is yoga. And at PanchaKosha level, when you go back to your nature, which is drashtuhu swarupi avasthanam, vritti nirodha. When I say vritti nirodha, it's a general statement, but that when it can apply at the physical level, it is the tension nirodha so that you can come back to relaxation. At the prana level, it is a speed nirodha that you slow down your prana. Shwasa prachwasa gatir vicheda prana. At mind level, all agitations of the mind, you remove it and get back to your nature, because agitations is the vritti. At the intellect level, confusions is the way vritti stays there. Get back to your nature. Now one question that still comes up, and that is, if our nature is to be relaxed and calm and peaceful, why did we come out of that nature? Though our nature to start with as a child, slow, relaxed, peaceful, blissful, but we come away from our nature because the child does not know that's a great treasure. See, what you are born with, you don't know the value of it. The child is born naturally with the relaxed, slow, calm nature, but the child does not know. That's a wealthy state. That's a wonderful state. See, you do not know the value of it because that you are got it by birth. You have not struggled for it. You have not worked for it. Wealthy parent children, they blame the child saying that, look, you are spending the money like water because you don't know the value of the money. Tomorrow when you start earning it, when you earn it, you will know the value of money. So that earning will give you the value. The same thing, the relaxation, slowness, calmness, you are not earned. As a child naturally comes about, therefore you don't know the value because you are not earned. Mullah Nasruddin was going in the forest, robber stopped him on the way and showed him a dagger and said, take away all the money and jewelry, otherwise I take your life. Mullah smiled and said, don't touch my money and jewelry, they're hard-earned. Take my life, I got it free of charge. What you get free of charge, you let go. The same thing happened with us. It gives an indication, one thing, that it is not just slowness, calmness, relaxation, but it has to be done consciously. That awareness is the most important ingredient in the path of all practices of yoga. Second thing is, all these 5 different personalities that are there, they are not like onion peels. Like you peel one, you peel the second, you peel the third. It's not like that. They're all together in the same one unit. degrees of subtleties. At the gross degree of subtlety, that we are the physical body, but the subtler and subtler that we go, we are deep inside the blissful personality. So therefore, if you look at the spectrum, if you look at that whole, on one side is the world and the other side is the consciousness, blissful nature, or the spirit. And then when you go away from the world out, go away into the world outside, that's what is the vritti. You need to go to the world. But then when you get back consciously to go back to your nature, you ultimately reach that spirit. That is our own nature. So therefore, this is a yoga, therefore is a spiritual journey. And spiritual journey does not mean that I can produce vibhuti, does not mean that I can walk on the nails and something like that. No, I am not identified with the physical body. I am identified myself with the consciousness, with the bliss inside, the spirit inside. And the body, I use it whenever it is necessary. Normally what happens? We are so much identified with the body. We are only running around the body, mind, intellect, complex and all that. We have never realized to go back to our own nature. So that is why this particular idea of yoga is a very, very spiritual knowledge. So therefore, let's go back to that state. Let's try to understand at various levels. Asana, kriyas are not doing physical exercises, doing like acrobatics, but it is to see that they ultimately they relax you at the body level so that you can go to the prana level and then go to the mind level. So like that, one after the other, the journey makes inside, which is supposed to be our own nature. Long time ago in Prashanti, that the dining hall was there. There were about 100, 150 people were there, not much people. And then I finished my lunch at the dining place, and then I was going back to my residence. And in between my residence and the dining place, and there was a playground. Children were playing. Naturally, when I come out of the dining hall, I looked at the children. My eyes immediately went to our cook's son, little fellow, 8-year-old, 7-year-old, happily playing. I saw there is a cut on the knee and the blood was coming out. I looked at him and instinctively I thought I wanted to say, stop there, because you need to take care of that injury. But then suddenly I thought, everybody is enjoying, he is also enjoying, running around. Why should I stop him? Why should I stop his joy, blissful state? I was just watching him. Half an hour he continued to play. By that time his mother finished her work in the kitchen, came out, looked at that boy. Now you can imagine what will happen to the mother. Immediately she became panicked, and from there she shouted, hey, come here, we have injured. And that boy also shouted from the garden, saying that from the playground, saying that, Mom, don't disturb me, we are playing. He was blissful, happily playing. But then the strong mother, she went on his way, all the way to the field, and then stopped him. She was a strong person, so she held him tight. He was trying to wriggle out, but then she held him tight and then showed his knee. Look at your knee, blood is coming out. The moment he saw that blood is coming, he said, Mama, please lift me, I can't walk. I can't walk. Arre? So far he was playing for an hour he was playing. Suddenly he wanted to lift. Not that he is making any drama, but the moment that he comes to the body consciousness, pain will be there, suffering will be there. As long as you are free from the body consciousness, you are one with the consciousness itself, then you are blissful. In fact, what is the anesthesia that's trying to do? Is to get you freedom from the body level. But anesthesia drug cannot take you to identify you with the blissful state within. This is what is the whole journey that we are making. Therefore, let us use this PanchaKosha Viveka. In our spiritual journey, let us not stop short. This is one life that we have. We're introduced to the science. Let's proceed towards that blissful state within. Once that we find out the blissful state is within, all our rat race for the material world outside stops down, slows down. With these few ideas, I will stop it here, leave it for question answers. 10 more minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, those of you who have any questions, you can use the chat to put your questions, or you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you and you can ask your questions, if that is okay. I think all are in the bliss state, so no questions. So any questions? Don't
It's
think that, oh, is it a silly question? It can be any question.
It's okay. As she will hand over to Raghuramji. Voice not clear. Audio not. Oh, audio not clear?
No, this was in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, there's Prabha's question there. How do you define happiness?
How do you define happiness? Yeah. Happiness is something that you don't have to depend on anybody else and you are just blissful by yourself. That's what is the simple idea of happiness. One thing is that happiness, our own experience. Like the way sorrow, sadness is our own experience. Happiness is part of our experience that is there. It is not defined. You see, there is nothing like a definition for the case of happiness. There is no definition for beauty. Like where is it? You look at the flower, it's so beautiful. You say, wow, it's so beautiful. Then you can't define like this. These are the terms as Shakespeare puts it, some of the terms where you can't define them. Undefinable. Anirvachaniya.
Yeah, Srinivasan, I have unmuted you. You can ask your question.
And how do you separate emotions from the person? You don't separate emotions from person. Understand the emotions and see that there are such wonderful emotions that we have, which will always give you blissful state, happy state. And these emotions are love, compassion, appreciation, sense of wonder. All these things are the good emotion state that we have, and we are born with that. And these are the good emotions that we have. What people call it as emotional states, which are negative, they're all born out of ego. They're not natural. Your ego is the one which creates a negative emotion. Like for example, your anger is a negative emotion. Anger happens because that somebody did not do the way that you wanted him to do it. So therefore, you get into that state. So therefore, anger, hatred, jealousy, when you look at all these negative emotions, the root cause for all these negative emotions is your ego. Drop that ego and then you are in a blissful state of emotion. Don't think of giving up your ego. Why does intellect take over our mind? That's an unfortunate thing. Today, we have got so much of support for the intellect because of the development that we have done. We attribute it to the intellect. See, the intellect is causing for all this technology development that you say. That's why we think so much we attribute to the intellect, and intellect takes over. Apart from that, the modern science also did not look at the emotions. Modern science, that is the latest, did not look at emotions. They looked at emotions as a fall from the intellect. As a fall from the intellect. Why do you have to be emotional? Come on, you do the work as you want to do it. See, they try to curb it. But look at the child is born with the emotion. So in the present day world, emotion is suppressed because people have looked at so much at the intellectual level. Intellect has taken over all these things because intellect is something which belongs to the world outside. You look at intellect, it's all about the world outside. You have nothing in the intellect which talks about the world outside, which does not talk about the world outside. It's all about the world outside. The world gives the intellect all that knowledge so that the world is better off. Material world is better off. So for that, intellect became. As you are giving an example about your friend smoking, it was ananda to him and it's good to him. In society, it is bad. And what is ananda? Ananda is where ananda itself is not bad. If a person who just smokes once and just take a smoke and then in the ananda, he just stays there. He does not come out of it. Absolutely, there is no problem. That's what we do, when you listen to nice, wonderful music. If you are in that blissful state, there's nothing wrong about it. But the problem with the smoke and problem with other things is that it gives you a momentary ananda. Next moment, it enslaves you. Then you become caught up in the smoke. You get easily caught up in the drink. So therefore, it is because of this reason that they are not good, because that they try to enslave you, they take away the freedom. By giving a small little simple thing like a momentary ananda, they take away your freedom. Is it not something which is unfortunate, so bad? That's the reason why that such kind of ananda, that touching your own nature called ananda with the help of wrong means, will tie you up with the wrong means rather than the ananda itself. This is what in Yogabharati says, Drishya Darshana Sambandhe Anubhuti Ranamayaha. When Drishya and Darshana, the act of seeing it, Anubhuti, Anamayaha Anubhuti, that gives an extraordinarily blissful state. In that state, Drishya Samvalita Bandha Tanmukta Muktiruchyate. Bandha is when the Drishya, that means the object outside, is binding you. Drishya Samvalita Bandha Tanmukta Muktiruchyate. Freed from that, yes, that's wonderful. That's an extraordinary thing. But how many of them really can go to the smoke and then get freed from the smoke itself? It's just impossible. Namaste Raghuramji, how can we make someone who is only very conscious of their physical aspect and does not want to explore the other koshas, although they know something else other than the body is present? Only way that they can understand is if they can see more of people who are differently looking at the world. See, this kind of an approach that is in a society where everybody is running after objective world outside, you also run behind that objective world. Whereas if you are a society, at least a few examples in the society, you see that yes, they are not running after the material, they are not running after all these things, riches, but then they are blissful, they are equally happy. When you start observing that, your discriminatory power comes into, that's the moment there is a change occurs in you. All that what we can do is to create an environment, create a society where more and more people can go like this. In fact, I had given a talk on the COVID itself. I said that, look, this lockdown condition that was there, is it not a blessing? We all stayed for almost like 2 months in the house and we didn't go behind chasing the material world outside. We didn't go around the restaurants. We didn't go behind the objects outside. But then we were happy. We were maintaining ourselves. In fact, there was no pollution outside. There was no vehicle noise outside. And there was no unnecessary spending of the fossil fuel. Why don't we realize? In fact, 2 months that we have really solid experience that COVID has given. In fact, you should take a picture of COVID, that virus, and then in the puja room, you keep it and go in front of it saying that thank you so much, that what my guru has been, our gurus have been telling for centuries, we could not do it. Whereas you just came for 2 weeks to tell, 2 months to tell us, and you convince us that this is a lifestyle that we require. What a wonderful opportunity that it is there. We can do that, provided that we really see the ananda that is there.
Raghuramji, there are 2 more questions before this.
Yeah, before that, what
yeah,
is that?
2 more questions. Somebody is asking, childlike happiness, but is it okay to deal with the world?
Oh yeah, in fact, this is what not only the Jesus Christ also said, those who are childlike, they can only reach God. You know what? These are the 2 different things that are there. One is being childish is different. Being childlike is different. Being childlike is, you know, what is a childlike? Small little simple things, but then the child is extremely happy. He collects a color pebble that is there in the beach. Wow, you can see the happiness that he has. But at the same time, next moment, he throws away that particular pebble, and now he has no attachment to that. That is what childlike behavior. Childlike behavior is that. Yes, that's wonderful in this world. But please understand that. Let the others do not know that this is what you are. Otherwise, they will take advantage of you. Be careful. What's the other question? How to step away from the intellect and logic to reach ananda. How to separate intellect and logic. It's a very, very important, very beautiful question. Do select the moments in the day-to-day life itself where you don't really have to intellectualize. You can be free from intellect. You can just be in that state. Like for example, you are observing a child. Don't put your intellect there. Just look at the child. He walks and then he jumps for no reason. And then he laughs for no reason. And that is right. You observe the child, you become childlike. And then consciously you can see that the moment that intellect is coming up and then messing up the whole thing, at the beginning itself you realize that no, I'm not going to run my intellect unnecessarily on this. I select an occasion where I have to use the intellect, because intellect is a very powerful tool. You see, your intellect is such a sharp tool. Like sharp instrument, you use it only when it is absolutely necessary. You don't use it everywhere. So that's how we should use the intellect also. See the reason. You see, argument is somebody in everybody's everybody enjoys this argument, but you don't get into the argument. Vado navalambyaha. In fact, the highest intellectual text like Brahma Sutra also says that you don't go for vada at all. They say vada, vado navalambyaha. Don't go into the vada discussions. So that's what we need to be free from that.
Raghuramji, there is this first question.
What is that?
Which says that what if a person experiences happiness doing something socially unacceptable like violence?
Like violence.
Yeah, but that person is getting happiness doing violence.
Yeah. You see, what happens is that in the true sense, violence does not give us happiness. Our very nature itself is non-violence. You see, look at all the animals. They only hunt their food when they are hungry. Otherwise, they don't become violent. That's what is the nature. Even a tiger resting in the grass, stomach full, deer is there right inches in front of it. The tiger looks at the deer, smiles, and then slips back. Doesn't even run behind the deer because they are not violent. In fact, the commentator said in one of the YouTube, the tigers are not violent, they eat food when they are hungry. Now look at the way violence is, that when we are not hungry and eat food, we are violent. So a person gets happiness in violence. It's not in the violence that he gets happiness. He gets happiness because the ego is fulfilled either in the way that I am better than him, I am more powerful than him, or in the ego fulfilled that, look, I can achieve, he could not achieve, or my logic is correct, his logic is wrong. So these are the things that I comes. The moment ego comes into the picture, everything which is non-spiritual value, that gives us happiness. Whether it is violence or whether it is stealing or any of these things. That's why Patanjali gives us the first training in that. Ahimsa, Satya, Steya, Brahmacharya, Parigraha. All these things are your natural state. Shaucha, Santosh, Ishvara, Pradhana. This is the foundation for us because that's what is the natural. So there is no way violence gives us, violence gets a sanction in the field of yoga. Accepting that, in the, Krishna says very beautifully in the war field, before the war says that, let's exhaust all the possible solutions by peace, without war. And he takes all the ideas of peace. Finally, he tells the Dhritarashtra saying that, look, I've exhausted all the possible means of peace in front of you. Okay? Now, if you do not want to give their kingdom, then you are inviting war. They are not warring with you, but you are inviting war. See, that's one very careful that we are. Even that also they don't want to do it if you can peacefully work on that. Yes, that's what is our nature. Someone who is only very conscious of that physical, okay, all that. Unfortunately, I have given contract to the repair part of my house. A person who is liar beyond limits. And I was in an agitated state of mind and frustrated. How to handle him and keep him. See, this is what the world has, certain rules and regulations, world has certain arrangements, certain mechanism that is there. And you take use of, when you are dealing with the world, you deal with the world the way that the world wants you to deal with. There is no question of you are getting agitated or negative suffering or anything like that. You have to take action on him, you have to take action on him. You have to take whatever that is there into hand, that you do it. See, that's why this is not something that we need to, you become like complacent in such cases with the world. On the other side, if that person is somebody who has cheated you, is a regular cheater, and there is no way that you can come out of it, and is being agitation to you every time interacting with it. Now you look at yourself. If you have exhausted all other means of correcting the whole thing, then just leave him alone and then get out of it, the whole arrangement. Say that some money is lost is better than your mind, peace of mind is getting lost. So don't value your peace of mind so cheap that it makes that you can sacrifice your peace of mind. For few chips, you tell yourself like that. Next time on, see, a person that can cheat you once, next time he cannot cheat you. That's how you take it, and then please go ahead. And that's what I can say. There is a kind of person that is there. Person being highly intellectuals or away from the true nature. Is that a person attached to their intellect? Yes, in fact, intellect is a wonderful tool, but attachment to intellect is a greater attachment, a greater ego. That's why Radhakrishnan says very beautifully that knowledge is wonderful, but the ego of the knowledge, rather than knowledge is becoming wisdom, it becomes like ego of knowledge. It's like a donkey carrying the sandalwood. Donkey only knows the weight of the sandalwood, but not the worth of the sandalwood. So that's what person who is intellectual, difficult because that he has attachment to the intellect is much more stronger. That's what we should come out of it. I request a little more light on how to separate intellect and logic. See this, logic and intellect, there is another question about this vendor. Charging something, which is, just look at it with all those things, because the society is like this, that you can get away with all these kind of things. You are not here to change the society. If society changes, that's fine. And there are people who can change the society. So that's one aspect that you take it. And the other thing is that it's all right. If a vendor cheats you, takes about a couple of extra rupees or 10 rupees, 15 rupees more. What is it that person is doing? He's not going to build a mansion in front of you. So that means to say you have a value system, all right. You should not cheat anybody. You should not tell a lie, but somebody else tells a lie. Somebody else has a cheat and all those things. Look at that, the value of that cheat, a fruit vendor is not going to build anything like that. Just ignore it and come out of it. You can peacefully come out of it, because basically that you are not going to change that person. You might insist that that fruit vendor might give you some concession for you, but that's not going to change her life. If that has to happen, one should be like a Buddha, one who can change an Anguli Mala. One could be like a Narada, who could change Valmiki. So that's a big thing. Let's not look at that. Let's confine ourselves to our blissful, peaceful state of mind. Somebody shouts at you, somebody calls a name on you. All right, I can go on fighting with him, but I can just say, forget about it. Leave it alone. I'm not going to argue with him and then come out of it. Wisdom is in that. Ultimately, the goal should be that you should be blissful, because that's what is your nature. Yeah, the rules and regulations are there. More number of people are violating rules and regulations. I always say that, try to impress upon people, saying that all these rules and regulations and laws and all that, you own it. That means to say you don't want anybody to impose that law on you. I'll give you one small little example. Once I was in Japan, and then there was one fellow who was washing these, myself and my colleague was there, and then he was washing the streets, and there was a vehicle that he was driving the vehicle, and it comes out, and then there is a hose, pressured water. And then he washes all the leaves and all the thing on the avenue tree. I was so surprised because in India, you don't even wash the sweep the street. Washing the street is forgotten. Sweep. And then here, street trees that he is washing. And then my colleague went to him and asked him that, what are you doing? I said, don't you see that I'm washing the trees? Yeah, that I see that you are doing that. So he is your boss. That means in a company you should have a hierarchy. There must be some supervisor, some manager, something like that. He laughed. He said, for me doing this work, I need a supervisor. I can do it myself. See what an honesty that is there. That means he owns the whole thing. Let us try to create that kind of a situation where we try to own the laws ourselves and then we follow that so that we don't create a burden on the law enforcement agencies, law punishing agencies. Try to work on that. Let us try to create that tribe more and more so that the world will be a better place. This whole idea of taking yoga for an international level, yoga day, it is not just some people do some asanas or some pranayama. Idea is that we would like to say that this is the only culture which talks about these things as your own values, your own being. We take these values to the world outside. We can create a world, a better society. Thank you.
So let us end the session with the Shanti Mantra.
Sure. So you want to lead, Vijay?
No, you can lead.
Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.